Hello, everybody. Welcome to the United Nations Climate Change Conference. I'm Stephanie Ortega. I'm from Colombia. I'm leading an organization, BDH Group. We are working with the private sector and all organizations to face the climate change in Colombia and to work for a sustainability world. Here we are with Brimley Lindo, and he's leading the World View Impact Foundation. He's working with sustainable projects in Africa, Asia, and Latin America, and he is developing important projects in India, and we want to know how you are protecting the mangroves and how you are facing the climate change and why you choose to protect the mangroves and why now you are recognizing like a leader in sustainability in the world.
Great. Thank you so much for welcoming us to Spain, to Madrid, on the 25th anniversary of the UN Climate Change Conference. And I'm very honored to be here in Spain. Like you said, I'm from Northeast India. And over the last 25 years, I've been working with smallholder farmers and restoring cloud forests in the mountain ecosystems where I call home. And the name of my state is called Meghalaya. It's a mountain state, and it means where the clouds come home. So that's why we have cloud forests, where we have clouded leopards, which are also endangered species. And in the lowlands, we have the Royal Bengal tiger, Wow. That's where Rudyard Kipling wrote the Jungle Book about. But when Myanmar opened its border in 2012, my friends said, come over and help us. Let's restore mangrove ecosystem by the sea. So I went to Myanmar and fell in love with the mangrove ecosystem. I'm a mountain man, but then when I got to the ocean, I really fell in love with these miracle trees that we call the forest of the tide. So fast forward now, we've been working with 200 women and men, 70% mostly women, from different communities living in the delta region of Myanmar. And together they've been planting 6.5 million mangrove trees, different native species by the coast, to grow a living shield that protects from storms, hurricanes, tsunamis, and also as these mangrove trees grow, they look like little mangroves right behind us.
Yes.
They create fish, and 50% fish yield goes up. So that's why we call it the miracle tree. I know maybe in Colombia you might also have mangroves, but now, because of the high success rate of 86.75%, we want to scale this 6.5 million trees to 1 billion.
Wow.
That means we need to plant, 1 billion trees in 3 different states in Myanmar that will draw down 1 billion tons of carbon from the atmosphere. That's just carbon. Then they will protect millions of people living in the floodplains of Myanmar and produce fish, and they can address 6 of the Sustainable Development Goals.
Yes.
1 tree. It's pretty amazing.
Wow, yes, it's amazing. But before of this, the people were living in poor conditions and without feeding. What is the most important impact in the community with this project? Yeah, in the community in terms of take food, economical situation. Tell me how this project
came about.
Came about and how involved the community and help them to have better conditions.
So when the project started in 2012, we got a grant from Latin Foundation for $3 million to train young people in 2 marine science departments in Patane and in Make. But they were marine science just in name. They didn't even have the equipment or test tubes. So we had to train the staff, train the teachers, train the students, send them to Thailand to get a fellowship, a scholarship, and then come back. and then equip their science labs, and then now those students have to finish their PhD, their masters, their research, are now the leaders leading the project, and they are then training the women and the men in the villages, in the community, and also involving the young people from the schools together. So now there's about 10 people in the main office working, and 250 community members from 5 different villages, all working together to protect mangroves. So these are the planters that have been trained by the Marine Science Department of the schools. So, and then they were cutting down the mangroves before because they didn't have any ways to survive. They were cutting it down for making shrimp production, for charcoal burning, and for fuel wood. So we cannot just go to poor people's home and say, stop cutting down trees and start conservation when they have to feed their families. It doesn't work. So we say, okay, how much money you make from burning charcoal? How about you stop? We'll pay you double for planting trees, not for cutting, but you have to protect them. So while the men are in their boats fishing in the day, the women are in the forest collecting the seeds, raising in the nursery, and planting their babies. So we create this connection, and all the charcoal burners are now part of the mangrove warriors planting mangrove, and no longer cutting them and protecting their babies. So now they're growing. So, but this trust had to be built over time. It cannot be done overnight. So that's why I spend a lot of time in the field working with these communities. And the most important thing now is that these nature-based solutions that everyone in COP is talking about can be used to fight climate change. Only nature can store carbon and release oxygen. One mangrove tree releases enough oxygen for 4 people. We're not talking about oxygen right now, but the world is running out of oxygen. Even the ocean is running out of oxygen. If the oxygen dries up, all the fish will die and the oceans will be dead. That's why this COP, which is under the presidency of Chile and being hosted by the Spanish government, is the blue COP.
Yes.
For blue carbon, for the ocean, for the mangroves. So that's why it's muy importante, as we say in Colombia.
Yes.
But tell me more also about what is happening in Colombia. You explained to me that you're from Cartagena. I've been there. I love the place, but there are issues with the cities expanding and chopping down of the mangrove, and it has a big impact in the community, in your city.
Yes, exactly. You know, Cartagena de Indias is the mainly Caribbean city in Colombia. It's the most important city in touristic in the country, and also is one of the most in Latin America. But also Cartagena, you know, that is a historical heritage of the humanity since 1886. But our city is also the second poorest city in the country and one of the unequal in the world. But not only that, the UNESCO had included Cartagena in the list of the 31 cultural cities that have more challenge facing the climate change. And that's because the city was growing in the mangrove areas. Yeah? And you know that generates erosion.
Yes.
And that erosion now is affecting the industry, the people, all the coastline. There are insular zone in Cartagena that a lot of houses have been destroyed because of the erosion, and now the climate change is fighting with the city. So we have 86% of the historical heritage in risk. We have 35% of the industry in risk, and now also we have 26 neighborhoods that are poor neighborhoods that also are in high risk of inundation and disaster. So it's urgent for our city to face the climate change and to take the climate change like one of the most important issues to face in the city. And we are working with the government and with the private sector and to solve mangroves, because mangroves can help reduce that risk, and that's one of the most important solutions for this.